It's 8:51 a.m. on the 30th day, ninth month, 2023. We're almost to the finished with the year 3 edition of Jumanji, chapter 9. 9? Say 9 to 9. Anyways, there's a big ass beam that has blasted the entire world. It's many devices involved. And one of the epicenters is right near where I'm pointing here, as you will see, the culminations of where things meet, where is the greatest potential of the magnetic influences. And it looks like you have quite a few devices involved in this beam. Look at the dimplings in the atmosphere, look at the interference patterns, look at the crossovers. There's a lot of beaming going on just in this one image. But doesn't that look like a kind of communication? It's aliens, man. No, I'm not serious about that. But, the realms of the possibilities of some of the technology being used, who knows where it comes from. All I know is it's not the ice cube detector, which people talk about, because that's over here, right? That's where that's located. And there's 2 of those, right? So I don't see any sudden nucleation here. Right, if I hit the start on this, right, it's to the wrong side of it. So what this has done is it's induced a large quake down here, where these beams met. Which I'll do the bit here, and then I'll make sure that the screen is running before I get too involved in this. Now this is going to pop all this cold air down here up in this direction. There's nowhere for it to go. All its momentum is going to hit this wall of impetus created by the heated outflows of these pulsations and the very ripplings they cause in the ocean that is the atmosphere, which is never a still lake, right? And they're throwing pebbles in the pond, kind of a thing going here. They're dimplings. There's a big pulse wave here going across this one here, causing the interference pattern to happen there more predominantly. And so what I'll do now is I'll do the super zoom bit, make them all down to looking like Legos looking thing. If you didn't like playing with your Legos, what the fuck is wrong with you? Have an imagination, it's fun. So turn the volume down. Or somebody's loading me a pot of coffee. Thank you very much, Monica Alpha. I really appreciate that. I'm a big fan of that. I'd rather have a coffee than a beer. And which causes the worst behavior? Ask yourself that. So you got a fan of a beam coming this direction. Wow. Boy, it got some swirls to it. And a lot of cams. So many beams crossed over here, making the crisscross pattern of the interference of. This is, if all the condensates could rain down at once, this is what this is indicative of these numbers. So there's the fingerprint of geoengineering. And it's caused a trough of cold air to get pulsated air towards and into Australia, which is going to influence your weather and fuel some terribly violent thunderstorms through the trough area and in through here. And as the coming days come, we'll see the actual signatures that are going to trap the storm. The first thing they have to do is bring it in. And have to bring it in under a controlled way. And it looks like the target area is pretty much already painted out. With that straight line there is where the initial condensates will bud up. And just let the wall go and bring it in. Pulse it from behind. So I'm watching for a big beaming event, and this is definitely going to influence that. The system is going to influence that once is this one up here. This is going to shark this in. It's going to cause a rotational change. It's going to drive the moisture through these corridors here, flooding out these people and directing it down through the tropics, and where so far the corridors here are shut. The EMF beams have shut off between the islands as the radar spike of their glitches has caused a straight line. I don't know if you can see it from this island to this island, and it took 3 stations to do it. And I've got that up here already recorded. And you can see an overlap of a beam here and here, all emanating from near a low-far field here, which is huge devices you're going to have to look into. Go to a climate viewer at Jim Lee's sites, and you'll see all the information you need to know. He did tireless homework for himself and deserves every bit of the kudos he deserves, more than he gets, that's for sure. You love the guy. See, one beam, two beams. Boom. Which way did it sweep? One went on the low deck and swept that moisture underneath this one here. See? Sweeping. So it's shooting that direction. We know it has cut the river that direction. It has forced this up and over here. You get a beam swept there that has the same effect. It's just closer to the station where the emanation is. And you're right, it's very sad. And it's said that the technology was not taught to us. The Tesla tech was hidden, and the government taught themselves what they could do. The deep state moves. You got a ship here in the center. It's probably relaying the signal. You bounce it off the atmosphere. It bounces back down towards the ship. The ship can send it on down over the equator. We have another one here. It could be on an island. So it takes a lot of assistance and a lot of devices to do what they just did to you guys. And they fright the hell out of you. And so I'll take it back now and let this run with a timestamp. That's pretty much what the effect of that's going to be. And it triggered a large quake right along this line here. And Macquarie Island, which they consider Australian property. You can own an island, I don't own your ass. Devil at 12 o'clock. That movie scared the hell out of me. So that we know what direction that beam swept. So we now need to know which direction has this beam swept. What has it done to the river of moisture here? And the shock waves will go across, and anybody who's EMF sensitive, anywhere near these device deployments of these beams, is going to feel the undulations. So it is sweeping forward, back, back. This one's sweeping that direction. So both of these waveforms are sweeping towards each other, and the propagations of the waveforms themselves going through the mantle and the ocean waves themselves will be increased as the constructive and deconstructive interference occurs with the waveforms through this medium of atmosphere, ocean, sky, and your body that contains various things that will vibrate, have been vibrating. And the biggest risk between the two is you just add these up. And the interference pattern is going to echo back and forth, 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 and triggers a quake over here. So let's have a quick look at today's USGS earthquake map. Earthquake map. Earthquake map. 1,700 kilometers. Right down there. So really, it's not that hard to see what is going on. Just to look at the mathematics of sine waveform propagation. When you have some here in Hawaii, yeah, it had to go. And so that was looks like a 3.2 right there. It's probably next to the volcano, as it's quite active right now. Beam swept went right. So the echo point of the beams has triggered quakes along predictable fault lines across the entire planet. Across the entire planet. Interference forms. So you would do this one different. This one went out. So you have to find this halfway between here and here. You can pretty much do it with the math and the numbers down here. Right? Just count your brexes. Where did the interference occur the most? Well, other devices trigger off, and of course more interference separately, like right here, where it's going to be it's actually at a halfway point between the two waveforms. This swept that way, that swept that way, and you see that line coming straight up here from Lake Tonga. Well, they've created a triple interference point of what adding to it, the wave here, whatever impetus it has just put into the waves of the atmosphere. Boy, they're being a pain in my atmosphere, that's for damn sure, causing an atmosphere of general malaise around the planet. This is using EMF large blast to modify the movement of the moisture, to modify also the movement of the temperatures, which cause certain natural weather phenomena to occur. And well, it's all too easily seen when it's just an obscene mob scene. Hanging Mother Earth. What a fucking shame. So let's roll this here so we can see all the data with all the time stampinesses. Yeah, we'll have Stampy out there. Bart Simpson's bull elephant that's in the room, Stampy. Stamping all over everything, putting his stamp on things. Oh gosh. You can't put a flag in the soil and own it. If so, and a dog pee, like in a movie Strays, it means they own everything they pee in. It was one of the 3 rules. Well, I don't go by them rules. So that's kind of how you would calculate stuff like that. You just calculate the interference pattern, sine wave form. Did you pay attention in math, or did you copy somebody else's paper? Well, mine was the paper you would copy. Stop calculating and start using your heads. And that's just how that's done. And we see the quake lines that were triggered align these lines of the interference. And yes, something has hit over here near the Samoan wrestling team. Look, it's not a small 4.6. How deep is it? That's deep. And let's see if we can go with satellite. What kind of features do we have under the hair? Is it a deep? Yeah, it fell into a depth. So something down here wrecked the waveforms. There's a little island here. Is there a device in it? What's here? I'm just zooming in. I'm very curious what is here. Well, isn't that special? Hey, look. You get the crest or antenna features there. And there's the eye. Where the stinger killed whatever the hell this is. There's this stinger going over here. And so that bird moved. What? Nothing. It's just a wild part of my theories. It seems to be playing out quite accurately. So that beam line was very impacted. And where the interference forms multiplied. Multiplication of bad situations. The combination I'm seeing today is the sky crime. Would you look at this over here? Toxic air. Friday here, bzzzt, everywhere. This is a hook move. You send this chem bombs over the top while this streams down here with the EMF interference pattern. See it there, crisscrossing? And it hooks that just like a feature on the land, a sticky out bit, and begins this mess turning. And that was coming in hot because it's turning that direction. And this here is just a fryer, man. Look at bzzz, getting fried. There it is, the thumbprint of geoengineering. They signed off on the planet. This is not a good thing. You guys have an absolute chem bombs over here, frying over there, weather manipulation here and over there. What the hell is this television creature guy with the antennas in it? With a triple bomb in the center and all these plumes going from the side? Only you can decide whether you will use your head or not. I'm sorry, I'm tired of watching a bunch of asshat rocks going around. They may not have the hat on, but I recognize the rock. Boom, go to plume over here. Boom, over there and here and here. Toxic air, and you go over to New Zealand. You go, oh my God, it's a sky crime. How many directions of the wind here? Now you just funnel it. Whatever's coming down that direction is funneled into here. Or released suddenly from there because it's got a blocking point. So the only outlets for the wind are here, here, and here. So the only way I'm going to be able to decide where the hell is that going on, it will put on a particle animation. We'll see what kind of microparticles are moving about. So let's have a look, and just makes your screen goes wiggly squiggly. I live with it. As the whole straight is black, there's nothing but a little bit of a release coming in this direction, but so they come in this way. There was nowhere for it to come out. A little bit of an outlet went out there, yeah. That's why then none of it came out that way. And boy, it'll be roaring over the top of the beak now and again. Wait, what a shame, eh? Here comes the rain again. Came bound away just like they do. Boom, boom, plume in my precious ocean. Booms! Look at that, triggering off. Got some heavy totals coming there for the Southlands. Whammo! And release it. Release the flow. Now she can come over the island. Oh boy, is Blenheim going to be so busy. I'm surprised it's not glowing in the dark with all the beams it's giving off. But if it was using a visible wavelength, you would understand it was coming from a certain spec. So a lot of these waveforms are invisible to us, except for the influence they have in the molecules around their passage. And are they moving fast enough for photons to be released? Then you would see a color of a laser. It was fast enough for condensates of clouds to heat up molecules, these dust things that they call the preformed particles that are ejected in the atmosphere, is they vibrate and the matrix around them is cooler, so they will condensate a water droplet. And it is just handed off to Friar Island. It's not the best day for you guys. And about Tuesday is when Melbourne gets the schmacks and you get a break. So I'm moving over here now. All right, let's show you the setup with the pressures there and the wind and all that. So it's not dissing your ease as much. I don't like the ease distance. I wouldn't want to put on emotive music. It sounds like you're going to watch The Exorcist or Jaws is going to come out just to get your attention. I just want you to look at the information. And let's bring the tropics in here so I can see flow differences. And then I'll show you the beams that have blocked off the passages through the tropics that would have taken moisture south. And then maybe they're helping to cause a drought by doing that. Why? Because they're taking your land. Agenda says Klaus Schwab and all them people so many of you seem to respect because they know how to make money. They're going to make a lot more money by you owning nothing. You rent everything. Your ability to rent it might be based upon your behavior in society. And maybe my ability to do this will be taken away from me because I am not doing what I'm told. Well, you know what? I'm not their whore. And I'm never going to be. Until I go through the big door. You're right. We all got to go through the big door. And will you be adored when you go through the big door? Or will you be whored? Only you can decide. And here we go, Tuesday. This is when the big action is going to hit the corner. She's going to come through quick. And the temperatures that have hit this up in the trut over the next few days are now going to be a factor. We bring you back in time again. Because this is how you set up a storm. No snows on the 10s through this area. So some of that will be wintry mix. But from here south today, no. Does Access agree? No. I don't either. Because they got too much warm down low to allow any of that to stick. It may fall as snow, but it ain't staying there. It's coming as rain accumulation. And the precipitation accumulation that's going to hit these rivers and come down this way toward Barnsdale, Orbost, and the Con River. We'll be told a con about where this water came from. But I'm showing you now where the water's coming from. And I'm showing you now how the rivers were moved and influenced by electromagnetic frequency from very large devices that it takes to move stuff like that and dimple the atmosphere. It's not the kind of dimples I like to see. Oh, are we getting it that quick? Yes, as they swell the streams up here to kill the dreams down here, right? You get your totals, but all this comes your way, all of this. So these little towns, like if I zoom over here, Barnsdale, Wyong, over there, Wyong. Oh, you must need an interchange here. Oh, yeah, that's why they want to flood your town. So these rivers are fucked. Yeah, this Mitchell's River backwater is going to be, backwater, camp bombs rolling, and lightning is going to be fierce. It has to be. The temperature differences that have just been created between these hot days you've just had and the mugginess is going to mug all your ashes, and they're coming for your houses, and BlackRock, the computer, is winning at Monopoly. Oh, who's controlling all this? D-Wave computers. Who did you allow to buy and have rights? Who do you have to blame? Yourself. So the Bem River's fucked. All these areas down here in these little towns. These interchanges need freedom, man. They need monitoring. Who's crossing what border? Are you in your smart city? How come you're 17 minutes away from your 15-minute allowable? Yeah, that bend ain't going to do it too well over here, Snowy River. I would want to be on the outside of that son of a bitch, or will it shortcut up? If that's a higher bank. She's coming across this tip. Hey, so I wouldn't want to be in that little shelter there, or this little shelter here, or this little shelter here along the old Forest Road. The park will be really, really, really wet. Oh, this is why. Here we go. Well, that'd be a great place for them to lock everybody up in a camp, wouldn't they? Oh, you got a lot of boxcars you can hold it. That's why they're targeting this area here. Okay, Orbos, I see why. They just send the river straight across the top. A lot of water down this highway running downhill towards a bridge. This could be fuckery at its finest. At the old Nicholson Road. Jack is a dull boy. Hey, so get your vestments out of the church. Go get the kids' projects. Save the hamster that's in the classroom. If you don't do these things, you're a selfish ass bastard. That's right. What's important in life is not always the dollar bill. Matter of fact, the importance of the dollar bill seems to be passing lots of bills these days or wanting things. It don't seem to be for the oneness of all. Hey, the Dargo River won't be as bad as it's going to be for Barnsdale, that's for sure. But you're going to have problems where all these meet over there, like this Beavis head looking feature here. It did for a brief moment. That looked like Beavis right here. But it's really is cornholio, and they've had way too much of the sugar the last few years, and you guys are going to have some big problems. Okay, so you can either take this warning seriously or not, and the trough will have some inundations here down low. I think it's going to go higher. I think the rains are going to go much more into this area here. So here's where I'm going to part ways with that other systems agreeance on things, and then tell you some of what I think. I do think there's a sweat that's going to come over Melbourne. It's going to dump a whole lot, but I don't agree with this amount. So we're going to watch closely what's coming on here, and hopefully I have enough time as I'm preparing to move, and then come to as I have a lot more stuff to sell. I should be able to cover this event fairly well on Tuesday. Let me see what dates it is. I fly out on that day. Yeah, I'll be all right to cover date. So some of these neighborhoods here, I'm already telling you now, get ready. I don't think you're being told something, and I don't think even these services are telling you how quick ashore this is going to come. And an EMF beam is going to decide the corridor, right? And until I see the blast, I won't know exactly what's going to happen to your wrist. And that's honesty at its best, and that's what you should be hearing from the Weather Service. Is we've had an EMF beaming event. You don't get solar flares this often, but you get lies all the time from liars, and expect the lies to be revealed with your eyes. And has there been big developments in your EMF today due to these beaming events converging underneath here? You see that blown out cloud mass here? See that blown out cloud mass here? Your islands are rocking. Watch this here. It's a big blast. As it curves down that way, I can pick up on it on where's it? Nasshole worldview over here. I didn't want to leave this loaded up at tool line. I mean, you don't need. The beam came down through here, and it came down through here, even where that's the sun's reflection. And when you want to prove the tilt of the Earth, just look where it's the shiniest. So right, that's high noon right there is the longest day of the year right there, and that spot, and that spot, and that spot. Right, and you watch that move. And so as I look here, I can see the sweat. Right, where did the beam go? So I'm going to get it up on screen. We're going to get it up, make a fucking Viagra. Right. We had a beam sweat that came down through the United States, and it actually went all the way up into Canada. And it swept that direction. So we're expecting to see a blowout in the clouds, more where the interference pattern edges are. Right, so we're looking for this. This is correlating a glitch with cloud formation. All right, and you'll see the sweat came through. You see where it's spread out. Well, it's caused the hemming of the clouds to form this curve that you're seeing here. Look, it's just exactly what it did. It's not a glitch or an error. It is a weather manipulation of a huge amount. of moisture, a huge amount of cold air, and it's going to be cold. You're going to get some cold. They want that extra heat in, Bill. Why? I'm telling you motives, all right? If I go over here to at the temperatures, oh, wow, we'll go through your hot parts of your day. All right, that's your hot part of your day here on Saturday. Nighttime is 4 my time. So I don't go back far enough. It is 4 a.m. my time here is your hot. Oh, we might have to go back an hour. You've daylight savings time, haven't you? Now look at all the heat you have generated here. Look at all the cold you have here. All right, inside the trough, there's a gap. I call this area the trough. And I think it's going higher. This is why I say, when I go to the next day, the pocket's still there. The cold is coming. That's what that little tickle is there. Right? You've got a lot of dynamics that, with the cold over Melbourne, that I say it's going to go wider. Because the natural dynamics that cause storms say that to me. Now that cold air has come across here. Why do I say your totals are going to be higher in that area? Is because of the dynamics of the temperatures now. And the pressure flow releases from the mountains in this area is going to cause pockets of big storms that might not be connected in a line. Whammo. Because the heat flows toward the cold is going to cut the storms and cause the rotations of supercells that'll damage crops. See how cold it get at night there on Tuesday? Here's your problem, Crummy. Feeding this storm. Cold pocket down low. Heat rushes in from the desert. The winds then at that point are going to fuel fires in areas big time. And well, let's bless the firefighters in our minds that they don't get caught up in a blowover or something here on Wednesday while they're burning the West out. Yeah, you've got the setup. Hey, this is bad. Those microwaves will be on. Boom, boom, boom. Had to keep the air hot. The atmosphere gets heated by microwaves as well, you know. Molecular excitation causes molecules to move faster, which we measure as heat. And density packed into an area. You see how I say the trough's getting more? I ain't believing this. You could have some snows up there near Canberra. Extended ski slush season. Or more toxins to rain into the rivers as the heat hits it later. And causes the floods to last longer. Look how cold it's getting here. Right, this is your nighttime temperatures here, the 8s. This is the recipe for wind disasters. And I'm going to expect a lot of different color sands to be seen on cars as fallout. Like the colors of the white ones over here. This is already being whipped up as it doesn't look very clear. I'll find a clear image where you see the ground fairly well. This is where your white sands are coming from. And when you're seeing those settles, as some of your deeper red ones are coming from in these features here, yeah, you'll get a lot of sand. Look what it's done to the color of the weather. Was it coppery or is that bacteria? Here's the guy taking a pee. Or is he holding an ice cream cone and it's falling off and his hair being whipped up? I don't know. All I know is that's wasn't as green then. And it's not now. This is the burnout season for you guys. So I'm expecting winds to be whipping up the sand. Have we had much sand whip up this week? Yeah. Yeah, here's a plume of sand right there. In chembimes to hold it in the air. That's very clear there. So the sand wasn't blowing over as much that day, but it's blowing that direction. And then it whips into the other clouds and moves over here to the coast and it settles on people's cars. And they go, Robert, what is this? And I say, look at it under a microscope. Is it sand crystals? That's probably what it is. Is it metals? Is it magnetic? It might be. It might have gotten ionized while it was traveling through the air. It might have magnetic particulates that have descended of preformed particles that I showed you they asked for. And I'm just looking now at the chembimes here off the coast of Harvey Bay. Look at this here. See that cluster? Boom. And each one of those is doing a different type of dynamic. towards the one next to it. So I can get that to spin that way, which causes that gear to do what? Spin that way. It's an eccentric. And if you think about things like fluid dynamics and flow, you'll understand. And if you ever seen a swastika before, well, how is that natural? I would have been drawing that as a kid and not getting in trouble. Oh, wait a minute, we were allowed to talk about people that did bad things. And so we would remember, as we see the face of the sea hag here, formed off the coast of Harvey Bay. It does, it is horrible, isn't that horrendous? Tiki magic. It does, it looks that's horrendous. Geosculpting. But that's chembrams. Anybody denies that is a chembram denier. Look, it's got like a little penis going in his mouth. It is horrendous. Look how many different forms of squares you have here. Flows tendril in half. You know there's whales here? Right here, underneath this bomb. There was a whale. Or this one here, the real lightly colored one, is a different color ice than that one, and this one's putting a ripple wave out. See here, the green? Green. When I think of green clouds, I think of farts. Red is a sky shark. Shardy skies for you and die. Oh, we got a fire. Fire. I'm not going to go over the fires today. Sorry. It's too depressing. Yeah, they're going on. Yeah, they're in grids. It looks like somebody wrote fucking Bilbo Baggins was here. What the hell is this? Bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches are on sale down at the shack. What's this, a crippled symbol? Ah! What a fucking shame. The chem bombs I'm seeing in this image right now. Something came along in a line and deployed. Boom, boom, boom. Boy, lots of dots. Boom, 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 boom. Right off Kangaroo Island. Is that what that is? Or is it fucking Yui Island? I don't know. All I know is they're screwing around with Mother Earth. If you don't like my swearing, you can go fuck yourself and go listen to fucking somebody else tell your shit. Somebody told me the other day I should watch my language, and I said, go fuck yourself. Look at the shit I gotta describe every fucking day. You ever think I might have a disability when I get excited? I fucking swear. Well, you would understand it if I was a cute guy to win in Big Brother. But if I'm just a guy that does your weather, fuck it, he's gonna swear. Well, you know what? I swear that all I see in there is toxic air, and I swear to God we're gonna get this to stop. I'll use my last breath to tell you what I see in your skies cannot be disguised. Like these bombs over here near which is chiki-kiki-kaka, making my air look like kaka. Kaka-kaka-kaka. And ta means thank you, and I don't say thank you to the kakas right here, because look at the bombs they did over the top of you guys. Boom went the plume. They put the Schwab sticker right over the top of you. Uncle Adolf would be so proud of such this Natsinian society that does not want to see the truth. They want a very comfortable lie. Where the Kiwis be is doing a big line of chem. Bring it right into the land. Your ancestors going right up their nose from shit that's coming out of some kind of hose. And you guys are a bunch of hosers. Getting hosed. What do you think of that? What do you think of these chem bombs here? Boom, boom, boom. That is not a naturally occurring cloud formation. And if you think so, I tell you, you're out of your mind. I say, prove me wrong. You prove me wrong. And I get rebuttal in a Socratic way, where you say a statement, then I say a statement. And what the statements we say will be facts, Mr. Hart. Use your heart. Instead of breathing all these sharts and your brain going away, because if they can't get their Texas in you one way, they're going to get it in you in another. You think that's a naturally occurring cloud formation? I'm just going to leave it there for a moment, because I'm getting disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. Look at this shit. The vag, the sperminator, right there, spunky. How many directions of the wind right here? You would have the biggest tornado you've ever seen in your life. There's a water spout that would be seen for hundreds of miles. But that is a chem bomb deployment. And if you were over here, you would just see a curve. You would just see that. You wouldn't see the whole formation, right? Of the trident spinning around. Or these tendril bombs here being snorted by the Kiwis. What a fucking shame. This is Bill Gates' dream. These are toxic skies. These make you sick. Seeking treatments. There are no curing wards in hospitals. And we all know what spittle is. It's what they want you to be. spittle and taking product, and just your heartbeat is their paycheck. But your existence mattered not. Chemtrail, chemtrail, chemtrail. Excuse me, I get angry right there. I didn't want to see it, part of me. Come on. The plane went by, and it spread out its vapors, its pollutions, its toxins. It's what the fuck is in this shit. We deserve an honest answer. We deserve an honest society that people ask us to be honest. But yet we are not given honesty. We are not given disclosures, and people do not want you to see what I show. You know, come on, as any afraid to celebrate goddamn thing I've got like I did last time. Look at the different color to that. Something went in a line and deployed, like the military flower of death. Transport plane, flower of death, chaff deployment. Don't you ever tell me vast areas cannot be covered by lots of things very quickly with flares of chemicals. The color of that one is very bright. Well, let's hope it's not bad stuff, right? Or would you like chaff flares? How about drones that could come out the back? How about that one? How about that one? You don't think that looks like a toxifier came by and could make a fucking cloud real fucking quick? Look at this crap here. Hey, what device is used to do this? The trapezes? This is horrendous. Come on, is that the best shot they could give me? Look how black that is. Don't you tell me I can't see this stuff in the skies, and don't you tell me it ain't going on. And you ain't gonna piss down my fucking back and tell me it's raining. Ever, ever, ever. Ever. Tell me it can't be done. If something could have gone along the line and pow, 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 pow. This time we all had a big powwow. Are you game, Layla? You want to have powwow down here somewhere? Got a campground somewhere we can all just go visit and talk? Bury some hatchets that are caused by bots in the system that won't let us communicate because we believe what they say. Look at the squareness to this one thing I'm showing you here. That's an oddity. You got a cloak craft over here. I'm telling you the truth. Prove me wrong. Because I just showed you. Look at, again, the bombs over here consistently blowing up off here near an area that's going to get some rain. Was this near Mackay and all that? If I recognize the coastline right. Charter Towers. Oh, he's getting good, folks. The Boeing Constrictor has been deployed in the skies over Boeing. Not the boner constrictor, but who knows what's in that stuff. You know, depopulation wants no copulation. If you can keep the penises and the vaginas apart, we damn sure have no population. Oh, look, that's how they made the swab sticker. Right in the sky there. Schwabby skies, just for you, and things die. And this is falling out. That's one of a reef right there. That's a reef. Here comes the chemicals, here comes the bombs, here comes the bombs, here come the bomb. Bleach it, baby, baby. Acid rain will bleach coral, that is all. And they propose using acid in your skies. And they haven't disguised that wanting. They haven't. I showed you yesterday. It will do it again. Siggy 111 Geoengineering document. Everything, you just go here or Google. It's available for all. It's public information. I'll go over here to page 13. I ain't fucking around today. We're going right to the meat and potatoes. Sulfur aerosol injection. Says right fucking here. They want to put it in the sky with delivery vehicles of sulfur dioxide injection to include aircraft and artillery shells. Artillery shells. Artillery shells. Artillery shells. Fertillery, ferting Hillary. Hey, look at the prop plane doing it there, so that doesn't fly as high as the big standard jets do. And so they could do this low level. They could do it all over the place. They try to make it look like an angel, and all I see here is the vulture. I see profit before people. They see profit before animals, and they try to look something like an angel to sell it as something innocent, and every one of these chemicals is going to fall out on the water underneath this boat. It disgusts me that the military industrial complex is not very complex. They want money, they want it now, and they want to put various preformed particles in the atmosphere, as shown in this document right here. Other chemicals, the word other chemicals, right there. Other chemicals. titanium oxide to effectuate more control over the process, because they have no control over it. And this stuff is from a meeting that occurred in the United States a long time ago. This is in 2010, February 4th, this document was put out. That Philip Resch gave some Resch testimony. It's about some things that go in the sky that I wouldn't want to put the titanium oxide in nanoparticle form or preformed particles in the atmosphere. It's not acceptable. You see that? Injecting preformed particles. There have been suggestions. Whoever suggests stuff like that, I don't know why it just did that. I think I just took the PDF on board. Let's go back to it. Whoever is suggesting that that be done is insane. That's insanity. Cut and dry, sociopathic, murderistic motherfuckery. And it says suggested. No, we do not suggest these things. People that suggest these things and need locking up. They don't love themselves. They'll never love anything else. And suggestions of injecting preformed particles of other chemicals. That's why you call them chemtrails. Chemtrails are real. You can't prove me wrong because I'm right. By very definition, titanium is a chemical. Oxygen is an element in titanium oxide is chemicals. And it's leaving trails. Titanium oxide in the presence of water is carcinogenic to most the life it was ever tested upon in too highs of concentrations. And it adds up in your system. And it's wrong. And all these things, stratospheric sulfur injections, to resolve policy dilemmas where they're discussing this behind our backs, behind closed doors, making secret deals and handshakes with companies that provide the chemicals to do this. Petrochemical industry has been in bed with the military industrial complex for a very long time, or have the lessons of the gas attacks during the Battle of the Somme and not left a somber enough memory. So that we will always remember war sucks. Because there is no glorious dead. There's only dead sacrificed for some general principle that called money, called national interest, which has no interest in the people. You'd think it would, but it's just interested in while we get good money, how can we keep the rate of our currency going good? What game do I have to play with the IMF? Can my leader now go over after he fucked his whole goddamn state and go be part of the WEF, WIF, the WEF? The World Economic Forum, UN Security Councils. There's so many boards that have been set up. Look at that fire. Jetson all at once. This plume went so high it went into a different layer of the atmosphere, or is a bomb just deployed there? Pow. There was no condensate, then there was. And just like that, they burn you out. And the winds are all set up to get there. And the waveforms going through up here in the tropics, you've got to see this. And where the interference patterns of those two waves have been really rocking the most, because there's a lot of land for it to echo off there, is well evident here. This is like the ocean disturbing the bathtub, throwing many rocks in the pond, and it just keeps that going off the land, then boom, 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 boom. And every one of these features is going to have a different echo to it. So what I'm seeing here today is not all done with the radio towers local. This here will be evidence of that really big blast that's going across the world, and it's tightened up as it went down here. You just start to see a bit of it go through the flow here, and as its pinch point came down here, you see where it creates the turn, where the beam itself has directed the flow across the southern oceans of Australia. And by its very existence of the walls of EMF it's created, and your earthquake risk over the next 56 hours is extremely high. And continuing through here, they've already had one. You will see more. You'll see more through here. Hawaii, you're not in the main line, but you are in a line of islands that it will influence like a tuning fork. So imagine if you live on that island, your bones are absolutely vibrating, your ears hurting, your energy levels are minimal, because the electromagnetic frequency will deplete us of oxygenation abilities and other things. And then they want to put chemicals in your sky, man. Other chemicals. Preformed particles. Injecting preformed particles. Injecting preformed particles. Don't you ever, ever, ever tell me it can't be done. Don't you ever tell me it has not been suggested. And if your suggestions are this, you are insane. You don't care about nothing but money. And sometimes I wish there wasn't money and we could just go live off the land, have children. We don't have to register with the state so that they become collateral, so that they can use their money to spray us like bugs and make us say we don't love our children if we don't go along with certain things that are harmful. Won't you ever tell me that that's a healthy bird flying? When the protecting of one life requires the killing of all life, and it's time for the suggesters to be called jesters and shut the fuck up. And duct tape would solve a lot of things over the mouths of the people that try to silence us, because you can't hide your lies in the sky. You ain't disguising your lies with lies. You ain't. I see it here. And I predicted earthquakes today, yes. I'm coming to see you guys. And if you find my work of value and wish to support it, that's really cool. You'll figure out a way to do that. And that's all I got to say about this today. And I've given you guys the good heads up. And I'm going to just let this roll a minute, because I found that to be quite depressing. I'll take you back through the event. So I'm more leaning toward higher totals out this direction. For you guys over in Vic, it's coming sudden. You have not been warned. Just it's obviously there. And so prepare. If you got animals out in fields, get them barned. Get them up on the high ground. Make sure they got food and water. Hey, know your lay of your land. Know what happens when flash floods come, because these storms are going to camp out around this line for several hours before the EMF swing happens, and it does the kind of the cartwheel onto itself. Wow, it's a bad moment. There's your pop-up storms when the radar fanning will then cut the storms into individual cells through the outflow move, like I showed the other day, and I'll continue to try to explain to you guys, which is not currently going on right now. And then over to New Zealand she goes for another smackaroo. You know, the tundra might have gone south of this island and stayed there, but an EMF blast is decided no, it will not have that. So there's nowhere for it to go, and the momentum of that starts to curl. And all they got to do then is sweep it into it with a beam. Just grab a hold of it, boom, and then just modulate it over, whammo. Handed it off to various islands, Burnt Pine, Willis Island up there that I call Friar Island. It has a lot to do with the flows through the Venturis up there and how things are going to go into Queensland. As the water of the world seems to have been sold amongst our oppressors itself, and then only rains down on coffers of which I think it's asked for or paid for or demanded or controlled by. That's what I think. And I'm allowed to think that and have an opinion. And that's an opinion. And again, you got a wintry mix coming. As you guys are headed towards summer, you should not be having this weather this time of year. You should not. Not New Zealand, you shouldn't. Put you through a bunch of rainy mix, and you're told that's going to lead to some heavy totals too. On the 10s, that's what they're showing. But don't expect honesty from windy.com when our oppressors buy it out and hide the radars. Right? If they're hiding the radar, you know it's on. Right? No data. The no data zones of the world are disgusting me. I'm going to have a quick look at your radars. You know, I'm feeling energetic. I don't know how. I'm in a pack. My goal is empty a couple drawers every day, and then till it was done. And if I do my plan by today, I'm done by tomorrow, or I'm packed. And so I can relax for a couple of days. I'm very stressed. The stress is leaving stuff behind. And you know what? It's just stuff. At the end of the day, it's everything in the world. It's just rock and feather, isn't it? You find them everywhere, but they mean a lot to me. You see the beam shoot out? They turn the data off, but not quite enough. Where was it? Right there. Bzz, getting fried, Kiwi style, man. It's not quite frying the beak or anything like that, but it has created a flow issue so that nothing gets behind it. So, causing the clouds to do it, kind of like what you say happening over here. Hi, New Zealand. It gets this straight out look. There was nowhere for it to go. Hi. And so the clouds just died. They just died in that line. And so they died because of a beam. A beam shed out. And it influenced the corridors. It's like putting a card in front of a pig. You can make it go in a certain direction. Hey, look at that scalar square there. Hello, Blenheim. Come on in. That's why the winds went up and around like it did. And there's blasts from here that are not showing. But over here, they was guilty as fuck. You could get some more obvious beaming than was going on in the north up here. Where I'll start to show some of the tropic beams. Let me run this 6 hour on this, and you'll see how they shut the flows down. Like this shooting north of Bali over here. There's no air is going to pass these straits. Right? There's none's getting through there. None's getting through there. The passage has been pinched here. None's getting through up in here just a little bit. So it's going to pass north through here, all the flow, and directed right toward these storms over here in Singapore. Right? They created the corridors of flow. And I watch these very carefully. See, the Venturi's been shut here. And each one of these I look at like a small carburetor and a lawnmower. I don't know the way to explain it. Here, yeah, this is just carburation. Venturi effect. So they've shut that one down. Come on, man. You ever put your hand over the top of a 4-barrel carburetor to clear the tubes out? No? Well, you should have learned how, man, because that shit was fun. It makes a flame come out the top sometimes. yeah, I put my hand up on fire a few times. Whoa! What happened to my eyebrows? I know there's some mechanics having a laugh out there. Hey, the big heaviest beam ain't showing over there right now. But yeah, they're controlling your flows, controlling your winds, controlling the weather has to be the biggest sin. Expect heavy totals and expect me to cover this as best as I can. Stay safe. Big love. We got this. Know it. Peace out.